actually today I will have a meeting later, so I probably have to end this class a little bit early. Okay, and if we need more time, I will make it up later. But don't worry about it for now. Okay, so for start from today, we are going to discuss another common way of data analysis. Okay, which is actually what we name as factor analysis. Okay, so first of all, what is factor analysis? Okay, okay, so the factor analysis is normally used in order to uh, measure the or to test whether certain factors or certain items are related to our objective. Okay, so for example, there are especially in the international relation and consumer behavior study. For example, if we talk about demand estimation last time, okay. However, that demand estimation, you see, what we actually get is the coefficient between price and quantity. So you can say the demand estimation, the simultaneous equation we learned so far was trying to find the coefficient between just one factor, which is price and the quantity demanded. Okay, well, of course, that is useful in price determination, that is useful in determining the promotion. However, if we want to, say, develop a new product or change the packaging of a product, or if you want to launch an existing product into a new market, then we probably also want to understand that, for example, now we are in Thailand, but if it's our intention to, say, explore the Indian market or Chinese market, okay? So for example, there are items, there are goods and services that are popular in Thailand. We want to know whether those things can be sold in China. Then the problem is not so simple as we want to know the price. Yes, knowing the price is just one step. However, we also want to know that what should we do to make the customer in a different country like our product. Okay, this kind of thing actually we know that qualitatively there are a lot of ways you could do, but the problem is, well, let's just try this. Okay, I will just say give you an example. To launch a new type of juice. Okay, let's just say mangosteen. Okay, in Canada. Why in Canada? Because I don't think they have mangosteen in Canada. Okay, sorry, I don't know how to spell this thing. Let's just say mango, easily. Okay, in Canada. What are the factors that can potentially decide or potentially motivate people to buy? Okay, so this is a simple question. I will give you some time, well, because I think this is what you are good at. I gave you some time to come up with a list of the factors. Then we can discuss. I'm actually looking upon you guys to do it because I'm not good in this thing. Okay? So you don't have to give me, well, anything you think might potentially help you sell the product, that the things that you want to know or the things that you want to do in order to sell this product. You just let me know. Okay? The example could be having a special kind of packaging, or having a special kind of promotion, or having a special kind of advertisement. So you list all the factors and we can discuss. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes to think about it. Just construct a list and show me. All right.
ฮัลโหลรีวิวไม่ไปครับเขากำลังอัดหน้าจออยู่เดี๋ยวมันปิดไม่ทันอัดหน้าจออยู่เดี๋ยวมันกลับมาปิดไม่ทันวันนี้อาจารย์จะเลิกเร็วใช่ครับแล้วก็มึงไปซื้ออะไรวะโอเคครับมีเพื่อนไปใช่ปะล่ะโอเคไม่เอาครับตอนครับผมครับ
Okay, done, finished. Anyone want to share with us your list? What are the potential factors or what are the potential things that we need to think about in order to do that?
Price,
Price, okay.
promotion,
Sorry, promotion.
yes, and packaging,
Okay, price, promotion, packaging.
Taste,
Okay. Well, let me remove the number. Okay, it's too many. Taste.
uh, nutritional content,
Sorry, didn't
uh,
hear you.
nutritional content,
Okay, nutritional content.
the shape of food,
The shape of the bottle. Did you say that? Am I listening correctly?
yeah.
Shape of bottle. Anything else?
advertising,
Advertisement. Okay, not enough space for mint. Let me just leave it like this. Okay. Anything else?
quality,
Quality. Yes. Anything else?
distribution channel,
Distribution channel. Okay, good.
branding,
Branding. Good. Anything else?
the country of origins of the mango,
Okay. The origin of mango. Okay. Anything else? Come on, just be creative. What else do you think you want to know? Is that all? Anyone else?
maybe
Yes.
ingredients,
Sorry?
like ingredients,
Ingredients. Okay. Okay. What else? Okay. So doesn't matter. Let's just list how many are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We managed to list around 12 to 15 factors. I don't want to count them. But if I gave you more time, or I believe if I put this in the final exam, and I say each point you list will be 1 mark, you will probably be able to, well, say, brainstorm and give me like 100 different factors that people may actually care about a simple product. Okay, so all those factors. The problem here is when we try to analyze them or when we try to make a decision, the problem we are currently facing is there are too many factors and there are too many variables here. However, what we do not know is whether some of them are more important than others or not. Okay? For example, when you look at this list, do you think there should be some factor which is more important than other factor? We think so. All right. We think they are not equally. Well, actually, we didn't do the test. We didn't do analysis at all. But we still can somehow guess that among all those factors we listed, some of the factor will be more important than other factors. Okay. This is the first thing. Secondly, second question is, do you think all those factors actually matter? Well, this is another question. By logic or by identification, we can fairly say we think those are the factors could matter. But do they? What if you invest a lot of money on, for example, branding, and we find out this is actually not something necessary or something important? Okay? So among all those lists of the items we created, firstly, we don't know which one is more important. So we don't know how much money we should assign to each of the item. Secondly, is we also have a small doubt in our brain that maybe some of them don't really matter. Okay, how do we find out? Well, for example, well, I'm not attacking anybody's idea. I just fairly discuss. Do you really think origin of the mango actually matter? If we put an effort in our production to pick a very good location or very good origin of the mango, will that actually help us sell more mango juice? For example, in Thailand, when you buy mango juice, do you really care where the mango come from?
No.
No. However, how about people in Canada? Do you think they care? Well, we don't know. Okay, so each of the factor actually we can go through this even price. Do you think actually price matter? Well, I would say at a certain range probably, but maybe in some cases because in Thailand probably price is one of the factor, but if you are selling your brand of mango juice in Canada is considered to be imported from Thailand. When people buy imported goods and services, they normally don't pay attention to price that much. Okay, you can go have a look at the drinking water in 7-Eleven. That particular brand, Evian, they sell like 5-6 times more expensive than local brand, but people don't care. People who wants to buy it still buy it. They don't really care about it. Okay, so all those factors. The second thing is before we make any business decision on how to assign resources into each of the category, the second doubt that we normally have to answer is, okay, are they all that important? Could it be that some of the factor doesn't really matter? Okay, the third question actually is again, when you look at this bunch of factors, I don't know, okay, but do you think some of them are similar? For example, the nutritional content and the ingredients, do you think they are similar thing?
Yes.
Yes, no, we actually don't know, all right? But we have the doubt, which is just to look at this list. We have a doubt. So there are 3 questions that we normally doubt, okay? One, are all of those, oh sorry, do, I don't think it's correct grammar. Do all of those factors matter? Okay, second question is, okay, are some of them too similar to each other? Okay, number 3 is which ones are more important than others? All right, so you see the key here, the problem here is this 3 question. When we look at the list of this thing, we actually seriously have a doubt about this. Okay, but what is the major problem here? Let me write in a different color. The major problem is there is no theory nor model that can answer these questions. So you see, normally when we want to know, okay, for example, if you want to know price and quantity, are they actually related? There is a model which is called demand to explain. However, some of the factor, by our logic, we think it matters, but there is no developed theory to say whether it matters, how does it matter, and how much does it matter. Those questions cannot be really answered by searching through the books So once you look at this list of the factors, well, of course, I'm an instructor. I teach you this thing. So if I put this question in the exam, you can think about it. How do I decide who will get higher mark? Because there's no way I can verify. There's no way I can prove what you said is right or wrong. So when I ask you this kind of question, the list you gave me is not likely I will say true, false, true, false, true, false, because there's no theory, there's no model that I have learned to support it. So I have to basically accept what you say. In class, that is okay. But imagine in the business world, when you are actually deciding when you do or when you develop the new market, which factors you're gonna invest money into. You cannot just say, I look at the list, I think all of them make some sense, but I don't know which one is more important. Okay? So in this way, we say the most important thing here is when we expand this issue to human behavior, to consumer behavior, or to international relations, or to those kind of factors. For example, in international relations, which means what is the main reason why China and US have a conflict now? What is the main reason? Again, well, you guys are international business people. You know this way better than me. You can again create a similar list of factors. But whether all of these factors matter or which one is the most important factor. For example, assume if now the Chinese government and US government realize there is a problem between them and they want to solve the problem, what will be the first factor they should be addressing? Political system, economic system, culture, belief, language, or what? Or human right, or what? You see, this is a thing that we constantly have to answer. However, do we have a theory to apply in this case? Very difficult. Why? Maybe there are people who study the conflict between United States and the former Soviet Union. However, China is not the same as Soviet Union. So you cannot say the model I created in the past that works for US and Soviet Union will also work for China and US. You cannot say that. You need to verify that first. Okay? So this is actually one of the area that we are yet able to address completely, which is when we talk about a complex variety of interactive or of related factors. We have no way to determine or to answer the three questions we list here. Hence, the factor analysis was developed in order to solve this kind of problem. Okay, so let me write something. Okay, so in many social, business, and international issues. There are thousands of factors that may describe the complex variety and interconnections. So equally, there may be many conflicting or competing hypotheses and theories that can be adopted. Okay, so this is, again, let me give you an example. What am I talking about? This, in our example, it doesn't really matter. But for example, okay, when you buy something, let's just say electronic devices, okay, a mobile phone. Do you think other people around you, do you think their choice matters to you? I think the answer will be yes, okay? Fairly from the social perspective, the answer is yes. However, how does it matter? If most of your friends decide to buy one model, will that make you more likely or less likely to buy the same model? Think about it.
More.
More? Why?
Because if she is my friend, I will have like trust in her decisions, and I will ask her whether the reason why she choose this model, and if she say that okay, this is why this is good, how is really matters, so I will have the preference for this to buy.
Okay, good. So for one group of the theory, that's fine. I don't, well, in the social group, there is social study, there is a group of theory support what you say. People seek to be similar and to belong into a certain social group. So by use the same item, by dress or by act in the same way, they actually show the belonging to a certain social group. And also, just like Claire just said, there could be potential benefit if you choose the same thing as your friends. For example, if you don't know how to make it work, maybe other people could help. If you all use the same thing, it could be having some kind of function that you can use together. Those are all the theory that can support if people around us purchase this brand, we are more likely to purchase this brand too. But let me contradict you by thinking about the other cases. Do you guys like to wear uniform? Anyone like uniform very much? So what is the problem with uniform?
Uncomfortable.
Okay, so of course uniform can be uncomfortable or all those things. But I believe at this age, when I was at your age, the reason I hate the uniform the most is everybody looks the same. It's boring. It doesn't really show my characteristic. It doesn't show my identity. So if everyone drives the same car, I want a different car. If everyone uses the same mobile phone, I want to be different. I want to stand out and I want to be unique. Do you agree? Do you think this is also a good theory?
Yes.
Yes. So now you see, for a simple matter like whether people matter around us matters, we can conclude they matter. But in which way? So you see, we don't know. There are social studies theories suggesting people seek for similarity. There are also social studies suggest people seek for difference. Then, when I come to your mango juice, my question for you is, do you want to make your packaging similar to what have been there, which means which are more familiar to the Canadian people? So when they look at, they feel familiar, then they will probably buy it. Or you want to make it very, very special, so it attract their attention, so they could possibly buy it. Which one? Because you can't have both, right? You see, this is the case. You cannot have both because they are contradiction to each other. So you see, in the social context, there's so many things that can be possibly conflicting and so many factors we cannot actually use theory to justify. Then in this case, the factor analysis is a methodology that we develop to uncover this kind of behavior in a special situation. Okay, so factor analysis. Can or can simultaneously means at the same time. Okay, one, manage hundreds of variables, or you can call factors. Second, compensate for random and invalidity. Of data. Okay. This entangle complex interrelationships. Okay, so the factor analysis, which we're gonna talk about later, can solve three problems in majority. Number one is it can work with hundreds of variables. It does not like the normal statistical way that you used to learn like regression. You can have you need to have theoretical support before you can put X and Y into a regression. We talk about that when we talk about demand. We need one more variable, but we cannot randomly add something which we don't know is working or not. So we have to go through theoretical foundation to find, okay, income is related to quantity demanded and cost of production is related to quantity supplied. That is theoretical support. However, factor analysis does not require this kind of support. Factor analysis could simply look into those potential factors without actually need to have any fact or theoretical support. Okay. The second one is when we talk about the data analysis, random error and invalidity of the data is a big problem in our analysis. You see, sometimes when we try to measure something, let me go back to the place which you gave me the answer. Let me put it in a box, okay? It's a little bit messy. Okay, I have a simple question. Let me just do this, okay? How do you measure taste? What do you mean by taste?
It tastes good.
It tastes good? Okay, good. That's a good way. So taste, you are measuring it by good or bad. Yes, no, right? Okay, that's fine. So you see, price is definitely a number. Promotion, you probably have 5, 6 different kinds. So it's 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. The taste is taste good or taste bad. Nutritional content is, well, you see all those variables. When we want to measure them or when we want to describe them, we use different methods. Okay, and when we do that, there's random error in measurement. there is invalidity problem. For example, one way of measurement probably is invalid. Okay, so in that case, if you want to use other method, or especially the regression method you learned in business research, which you use a lot, these problems have to be solved. Firstly, the regression normally don't handle different types of measurement very well. Okay, in the regression, your y and your x should be somehow similar in measurement. If you have scale, you have binomial yes, no, and you have number like price, those things probably don't work together. Okay, and similarly, when you try to measure those things, sometimes you may have mistake. Sometimes you may have missing data. Sometimes you may have mistakes in data. Those will cause other statistical method or other data analytical method to be very, very unreliable. Okay. However, for factor analysis, this issue is minor. We don't really care about that. Those factors could be whatever you want. Okay. The final advantage of the factor analysis is it can disentangle complex interrelationships, which means, as we just discussed before, some of those factors may have interrelationship. Okay, just like, for example, does packaging and shape of the bottle, are they related? Well, for example, if I have a round shape of the bottle, probably I cannot have a triangle shape of the package. Okay, so, and does branding and advertisement somehow related? Those things we can suspect, but we are never able to prove. Then the result here is we need to find the regression again no longer work because, well, I don't know whether you learned that. For running the regression, all your axes must be independent. We talked about that before, right? When we talk about price, we have to have a factor that affects the quantity demanded, but does not affect the price. Okay? The axes have to be independent. However, we do not know that. When we look at those factors, we have no idea what is their interrelationship with each other. So again, we could be using factor analysis in order to solve this problem. Okay? So this is just to introduce what the factor analysis can do. Okay? So let's just talk about a little bit more before I tell you how to do it. Okay? So the common questions or problems. Well, what should I say? Common use of factor analysis. Okay. Interdependency. Okay. Well, is my screen still working? Okay. So the first situation that factor analysis work better than other method, this is a superior method, is if there is interdependency among your factors. Okay. So when you talk about those things, if you find out that they are interrelated, or you suspect that some of the X factors could be related to each other, then the regression method does not work. Then factor analysis become a common and more consistent way to analyze the data. Okay, so this is just to tell you when to use it. Similarly, if the pattern of the relationship cannot be predetermined by the existing theory. For example, when we talk about demand, we know that price and quantity should be negatively related. When the price is higher, quantity should be lower. Okay, so in that case, we can simply use a regression, and if the result is positive, we know there are something wrong with our data or with our analysis, then we can go back to do it. However, in the case of the example that I gave you just now, whether other people's decision or other people's choice affect your purchase intention positively or negatively, this thing we cannot decide. So if you run a regression, no matter what result you get, you cannot verify this is true or false. You cannot verify I get a positive result is because I did the correct thing or because I did it by mistake. So if you cannot decide the pattern, then probably the factor analysis should be your choice. Okay? So second one, when there, sorry, no need to have when. Okay? There are way too many factors or data to be analyzed, and it is our intention to reduce or combine some of them. Okay, so remember the thing that we did just now? When we want to develop a new product into a new market, I asked you to list the factors, which I only gave you 5 minutes and we came up with 15. Like I said, if I put this question into your final exam and I grade you based on this, how many factors you can come up, you probably can give me like 200 within 3 hours. So when you have 200 factors, for business manager, this is disaster, because that means I won't be able to decide which one to go for first. And it is actually our intention to say, some of them can we combine? Okay, you look at the factors we came up just now, some of them can we combine? Oops. Okay. Okay, so right, let me share it again. Okay, and I think one person is waiting to come in. Okay, so sorry about that. So when we look at our factors, some of them we may think they are too similar that we want to combine. Some of them we might want to delete or remove from our list because we want to know whether they really need to be there. Are they that important? Okay, so if that is your intention, there are way too many factors or data to be analyzed, and it is our intention to reduce or combine some of them, then factor analysis will be the very powerful tool for you to select, for you to even rank all the factors to see which one is actually more important, which one is less important. Okay? Okay, the third point is when we do not know how those factors work together. Okay, again, back to the example. You see, when those things are given independently, just say price and quantity, promotion and quantity, packaging and quantity. If we look at each pair one by one, we probably can know how they work together. However, when we mix them together, for example, how does price and promotion work together on quantity? Well, this one, of course, price and promotion, they are marketing theory to support. But in a lot of different cases, when we combine several factors to work together, the structure of the variable is not clear. We have no idea whether they work together, okay? For example, let me give you an example, okay? Example is x1, x2 on y. This is a simple example, okay? I could have x1 affect y and x2 affect y. Like this, okay? So it's possible that their structure of this group of factors work like this, okay? They are very simple. X1 impact Y, X2 and also impact Y, and X1, X2 doesn't impact each other. This is one of the possibility. However, you could also have right? X1 affect X2, then affect Y. Why not? Could be, okay? And you could also have X1 affect Y, X2 affect Y, and they affect each other. Right? So, well, of course, there are other kind of relationship, and this arrow could be also one way. You see, could be this way, or it could be this way, or it could be double. Okay, so when we have this kind of relationship existing in our factors, which we mean the structure of the factors are all not clear, then we probably need to use factor analysis first in order to create a clear picture of how they work together. Okay, I think later in your international business research or in certain stage of your study, you will learn about mediator and moderator effect. If you are certain they are this kind of effect, then you can go through the analysis directly. But if you do not know, if you want to show or if you want to prove they are existing, whether this kind of relationship exists, then this factor analysis could also work. Okay? So all right, next, number 4. When classification or description of factors are necessary. Okay, what does it mean? Because sometimes our research or the reason we analyze the data is not really to find out which one matters more. There are certain cases that we just want to combine or group the similar factors. Okay? For example, if your objective is to figure out, okay, how many factors belongs to political factors, how many of them belongs to economic group, how many of them belong to sociology group, Again, some of them will be very straightforward, like price is definitely an economic factor. Gender is definitely a demographic or sociology factor. However, there are certain ones we cannot clarify like that. For example, occupation is an economic factor or is a demographic factor. Okay, so the identification of this factor may change according to different situation. So if you want to clarify the factors into several groups, then factor analysis could also be very useful. Okay. Five, exploration. Okay, exploration, it means okay, the exploration simply means when you use an existing model, but the existing model does not perfectly fit what you try to discuss. So sometimes you may want to adjust it slightly. Okay, for example, if we talk about launching a new kind of mango juice in Canada, there are people who have developed a model which works for apple juice. Then I will simply ask you, do you think the model for apple juice can be applied to the mango juice? This is considered to be a minor modification. You see, if it's a major modification, we can say definitely not. If I use a model to explain consumer behavior on apple juice to explain cars, that of course everyone knows that probably doesn't work. But if I change from apple juice to mango juice, do you think it will matter? Or do you think it will still work? Okay? Or the situation when some of the assumption or some of the situation change, like just now, we use the example that there are people who study the conflict between USSR, the Soviet Union, and the United States during the Cold War. So they develop a group of theory or group of models. Can we adopt those things on the situation between China and the United States? Can we explain COVID-19 with H1N1? You see, there are certain things change. There are similarities, but there are certain things not exactly the same. So you want to explore whether the old model still fit into the new situation or not. Or more commonly, I think if you study business research, you have done that a lot of times. However, this is a question, like if I want to conduct a survey in Thailand, the survey questionnaire will be in Thai, right? But I didn't develop the survey by myself. I used the United Nations General Survey pattern, which means if I want to do a survey in Thailand with the pattern or with the survey questionnaire developed by United States, which has been already tested and used in English-speaking countries, do you think when I translate those questions into Thai language, do you think the questionnaire will still work? Do you think the questions will still be appropriate? Those are the questions that we probably want to explore, okay? In the business too, when you want to, well, say, do a survey or do kind of research in a different country, you probably want to adopt the questions or adopt the theory or the model you have already developed based on your country. Okay, we studied the linear programming before or 2 months ago. So you have already created a linear programming or logistic that works perfectly for Thailand. Can you just get that model to use it in China? Okay, so that is one of the area that we could use factor analysis to answer. Okay, last one. Okay, the last one that we commonly use factor analysis is data mining. Okay, well, this was not a common tendency 20, 30 years ago, because at that time, obtaining data is difficult. However, I think most of you have heard of big data. Most of you have heard of the clouding technology. So with those, with your mobile phone, actually the government, the mobile phone company, and your bank, those organizations will be able to collect mountains of data on your behavior and on everybody. So when they get those amount of data, those are just raw data and numbers, which means nothing. However, if I want to use this data to create some meaningful implications, or I want to use those data to do something that can potentially help my country or help my business, what should I do with it? Okay, because again, you see in this case, you have in your hand a bunch of data. You don't know how those data work together. You don't know whether they mean something or not. And you have a group of theory and models that developed by people ahead of you, but you don't know whether they can be applied or can be adopted. And also, you may also have a bunch of theory which is contradiction to each other. You don't know which one is true. So when you get a lot of data already, and you wanted to make those data telling you some story, you don't know what is the story. You don't have a target. You don't have any intention. You just happen to have a group of data on hand. Then you will be able, if you want to do that, you want the data to tell you a story, then factor analysis can potentially be useful in that sense. Okay, so all right, I think I will end the class here for today. I know this class is a little bit short. Don't worry about it because we have sufficient time. Okay, next class we will be looking at how we are going to do this step by step, and we probably go through some of the theories of statistics that is related and important to do this. Okay, so again, what I want to say for this matter or for this course is I don't really require or I don't really hope you to learn the step by step on how to do it. However, it will be more important for me that we find out in different situations what is the most appropriate method to be adopted. Okay, so I think that's all for today. And if you have any question, please stay and we can discuss. If not, then I will see you next Tuesday. All right.